Yes, yes. Welcome to Conversations of the Heart. It is your boy T Tell. What a week. Glad y'all rocking with me. Today we're talking faith and business with my brother Aubrey Kellman. It's gonna be amazing. Talking about business, faith, a lot of various different things that we're gonna get into. Looking forward to it. Man, I think I see my brother in there right now in the building. For my boy to tap in right quick. There we go. Yo,
what's good? What's good?
My brother, what's going on with you?
Man, chilling.
Oh, man. First of all, man, I just want to say thank you for doing this, man. I definitely appreciate it, brother.
Nah, man, thank you for having me on, to be a part of this. Thank you, man. It's an experience. Always humble when somebody want to talk to me, so.
Yes, sir. I mean, you've been a leader in this whole thing. I know it took us a minute to get it right, man, but I definitely appreciate this, man. Yo, listen, man, shout out to Kingdom Born, man. First of all, man, I want you to tell the people about Kingdom Born, how it started, how it originated, you know what I'm saying, and where they can go support and purchase.
Well, Kingdom Born is a brand strictly based on faith. How it got started, how could I get it started? I was at a wedding, man, I believe like 2016, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I sat up there and I stopped promoting parties a few years ago. God just placed on my heart to just start this clothing line that that's cutting edge for like believers. So that's what the brand's about. You can go check us out at Kingdom Born. We are kingdomborn.com. And it's a brand about success, right? So I always looked at success based off of, not what the world's aspect of successes, right? I think as a people we have to celebrate people more and how they grow, right? Because everybody's not meant to be the executive at JP Morgan Chase, right? Doesn't have a successful story, right? If you start off, for instance, if you got somebody who started off as working the cash register at McDonald's, and then they within a year and a half time they become a store manager, that is a success story and it should be celebrated. And that's what Kingdom Born is about, right? Your kingdom is your success, and the born represents that you weren't born to not be successful, right? Everybody's not born to be a millionaire, right? Because we tend to think of success as money, right? Don't get me wrong, $1 million, let me touch it, thank you God, right? But in a sense, it's not always, it shouldn't be only judged by the climate of money, right? So that's what that was about, man. The original logo, which is on the bear, I don't know if y'all can see. The original logo that's on the bear was a baby, and the silhouette of the baby represented your beginning, right? It's like your birth. Born comes in so kingdom, that's your birth, and it's just your journey to get to there, man. And then recently we've been rebranding with the bear, bless the bear, and it's been going really well, man. No complaints. I see you, man. Thank you.
Shout out to Queens. Shout out to Queens, man. Go get y'all merch, man. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Thank you. So
man.
I'm on it, man. So that's what the brand's really based off. Like I said, you can follow us on IG, KingdomBorn _ Kingdom Born. We are kingdomborn.com if you want to purchase your items as well. And just follow and support, man. Black owned. I'm LLC'd. I ain't one of these people that's just printing something. I pay the tax on this, right? Like, I'm saying I want to start a business. Like, you forget that LLC part, right? Like, so.
Big thing.
You forget that trademarking part too. Like, I have trademarked as well.
And that's dope, man, because I think that's the big thing that people miss is the
Right.
business part of it, right?
Right.
And a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't start a business. I don't have the money to to start a business." But it's like, yo, how many vacations did you go on a year? Like, how many trips you take? You know what I'm saying? Like how many drinks you got, the bottles you got,
Right.
stuff like that. Like, you can start a business. It's not even that expensive. And
Right.
even if you said, yo, I can't afford an LLC, you can start with a DBA.
Right.
You can.
Right. 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 You know, $1,000 in LegalZoom can get you very far in life. Less than $1,000. So
Less than 1,000.
it's you know, it's just your want and your drive to go and do it. You know, it's not easy, right? To be honest, because this is all me, all thoughts, all you know. I get help from time to time, from the back end, but you know, this is all me. Like the creation part, the putting it into the system, the keeping the track of the inventory. This is all me, man. It's very tedious work, and I shout out anybody who's doing a business or attempting to start, man. Like it takes courage to really do it, and a lot of sacrifices.
It definitely does.
Morning nights, and like, you know, nights turn to 5 o'clock in the morning real quick when your heart's into something.
And that's a fact, bro. And it's like even for me, just started my LLC. Well, I had my business for a couple years, but I really did my LLC like last year during the pandemic, man. And it's like you said, bro, it's less than a G. You know what I'm saying? To really get it done. You know what I'm saying? But it's really necessary to really be official. You know what I'm saying? For people to recognize you. You know what I'm saying? And especially with what you're doing, what you're doing, man. So you took us from Kingdom Born. And from scratch. So where's Kingdom Born going next?
Well, let me give you a few success stories, right? Right out the gate, first year we was in the Source magazine.
Shout out to that.
Got recognized for the work that I was doing, like with the innovation of bridging the gap between urban clothing and faith. That was really big for us. Right now, man, we're just trying to take it to the next level. When I say to the next level, new concepts, new ideas, right? Like I got tech. My vendor just hit me today. The tech suits are ready. They coming. You know, it is just getting to that plateau because we started with just T-shirts and hats. And, you know, to even say that I got tech suits and sweatsuits and trucker hats and all of these things. So when is this coming out? That's the main thing, man. We're gonna be doing some rugbies this fall. I also just been in talks with somebody trying to get these, like, you know, to check it, you know, button down. We working, man. It's been a big blessing. I was able to meet an illustrator, in the past during the pandemic, because my mind is like, and he's been able to create everything that comes out of this box of mine. And I just tell people all the time, man, I'm just a creator under the creator, and as long as I keep that in perspective, we just gonna continue to grow. So the thing is, man, is just to continue to reach. I do plan on putting my face out a little more and doing more things. You know, you go thing, I had to come out my shell a little, and I think once people start buying into who I am, what I do for a living, like, you know, I think it'll be able to impact the brand much more.
And you touched on it. You are an entrepreneur. You are a creator. You're a consultant. You're a program manager as well, and you have your Master's of Divinity, correct?
Right. Yes, sir.
So you're doing a lot. So when I think of legacy, you know, I don't just think entrepreneurship. I don't just think money. I think about the work you do with the youth, and how you give back. You know, so can you just tell me a little bit about why you think that's so important and why it is that you do what you do with the youth?
When it comes to legacy, man, I think the biggest thing is I always said to myself, what are they gonna say about you when you're gone? Right. You know, being in ministry, you read all of these eulogies, and some people's eulogies sound very generic, or like, you know, it really doesn't capture the impact that you made on people, right? My thing is, when it comes down to the youth and to the people, it changed my life, right? I'm not gonna say I was like a knucklehead, but I didn't have direction. 17 years old, I stepped into a chapel and it had 200 black kids that looked like me for the same purpose, right? Like when you're going through your hallways in high school and stuff, like, you don't necessarily look at it like that because everybody is going different ways, but it was 200 young people in a chapel with the same purpose, right? Like I didn't even think about college until I went there, right? So I give back because it changed me. And if you can touch the heart of a person, especially a young person, you can redirect their life. And that's why I give back. You can really redirect someone's life when you really touch the heart of a young person, right? You touch their heart, you're gonna change their mind, and it changes their, you know. But I was working with Calvary Baptist Church, and that's the place that saved me. And we worked there. I started working with the children. They put me with the kids, and I didn't be with the little kids. I wanted to be with the teenagers. But being with the kids is what really changed me. As a man, because kids, you have to be blatantly honest with, because they're going to ask you a lot of questions, and you got to be prepared. And I had to learn empathy. I could say, for myself, I wasn't the best in showing love and expressing love. But when you got a 6 and 7 year old and a 5-year-old looking to you, and you can't just say, get up and stop crying. Like I had to how to deal with all their personalities and what's their triggers, and their triggers in a good and a bad way, right? What's their triggers to make them want to do more within the programming, within the ministry that we were doing. And we made an impact, man. And I say that humbly, you know, I was been able to be used there, and I was able to do my thing. Right. And God was able to put some great people, because you're only as good as your team. That's number one as a leader. You're only as good as your team. And I had to learn that too. So as I'm learning empathy, I'm learning to be a great leader as well. And building retention and bringing the greatness out of those around you, you're really not a great leader. You're just a great worker that people are trying to follow. And I'm very serious in building retention. In any organization that I'm with or anybody that I'm consulting, I told them, well, who's your backup? Because this got to run with you not being there, right? So I focused on that a lot as well. So, and even with the work I do now, I work with Erica Ford. You don't know who she is, go look her up. Phenomenal individual. And I work right under her. I'm her program manager for her life camp. That this is her life work. So, and as I'm getting to learn and understand the work that she has done, and being literally on the front line in the mayor's office and all these people, and she's talking to the White House and all of these people now, like she really is about change within the community. It's a funny story, man. I'm sorry for rambling. I just gotta.
Nah, go ahead, bro.
Because we're speaking about faith. Last year during the pandemic, just like many other people, I had lost my job, right? And I've been searching. Before that, I had resigned from my job, right? So on from one job, and then I lost the job, and I just asked God to put me in a place where I can do his work, right? That can mirror what I do and what my passion is. And he put me in the right spot with the right person. And it's been a dope experience so far. I mean, it has its challenges, like anything new you're learning, but it's an honor and a pleasure. I sat in a panel today, and I was like, wow, I'm really advocating, you know, for anti-gun violence, because we work with the youth over there as well. So it's a dope experience, man.
And you know, I just want to say, man, salute to you for everything that you're doing, man. We need more people like you out here in the community, man. So I just want to say, come on, man.
With real people.
That's what it's all about, bro. I want to highlight people like yourself, man, who really doing some amazing things out there, man. Really put it out there, bro, because there are people right here in our communities that's doing some dope things and now are willing to share their experiences, good or bad. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of, I won't say bad, but what I'll say is this: being a business owner and an entrepreneur, what are some pitfalls that you would say, like if a younger person came to you and said, yo, Aubrey, man, I want to be an entrepreneur, what was a pitfall that you could tell me to avoid?
To avoid?
Yeah.
Is jumping in too quickly. And you got to do your research. Like YouTube is your key, because you can learn
everything.
How to build a house on YouTube, right? pitfalls that you want to avoid is a lack of discipline. Right? I can say that for myself, like, because it gets tiring. It gets, you have to stay motivated. And this is what you're doing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, you can't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't know something, learn something. Right? Big shout to the Clout owned by my man Junebug out there in Rockville Center. Man, I went in there and I was asking him, like, yo, how could I get my stuff in here? And he was like, yo, I'm not trying to play you. Like, your stuff is dope. But I sat there and he explained to me, the difference in T-shirts. Things about T-shirts that I did not know. And he broke down the quality of T-shirts where it made me go back, look at the stuff that I was producing. I thought I had a high-grade quality T-shirt. I had to go get a higher grade. Like, I didn't know there was feathers and heathers and all of these things that look like in just a T-shirt, right? When you're trying to sell it on that level to get a certain kind of clientele and consumer. So, man, that's it, man. I just asked. I continue to ask. Like a sponge, just trying to absorb all this stuff. I watch people, right? Number 3, man, pitfall, jealousy, and don't compare yourself to nobody, right? When you doing your stuff, when you're doing your brand or whatever you're doing as an entrepreneur, do not, compare yourself to anybody else, right? Because comparison is the thief of joy. What you do is you get inspired from it, right? I see God is dope, right? Even though they're not a Christian brand, just want to put that out there. I see God is dope. I get inspired by it. I ain't saying like my stuff is better than God is dope, and that's not to put a knock on their brand or anything. I look at Kingdom Native. I look at I don't look at them as competition. I look at those people that are like, what are those people in my field? What are they doing to reach their people and their clientele? I don't ever compare myself to them. My stuff is my stuff. Their stuff is their stuff. And that's the best advice I can give. Those are the 4 main things, man. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Make sure you do your research on your own. Take time with that. You got to discipline and don't compare yourself to any other consumer and what you're doing. Right. Nature gonna put you against each other. It's a nature thing, but don't. Right. Like, you got to look at it as, yo, they do this and this is what I'm gonna do.
Right. There's room for everybody to eat.
There's room.
So there's mad room, baby.
Mad room. We're talking about $1 billion entity here when it comes to the T-shirt business. You think they ain't got no? Just give me some of it. I don't need the whole.
So, and even being an entrepreneur, I know at some point in time, things weren't maybe moving as fast as you wanted, or like you weren't seeing the results that you wanted, right? As fast as you wanted, right? So just talk a little bit about keeping the faith, even though you may not see the results.
That's the key. That's the discipline part that we're speaking about. The discipline part is to get up and say, I got a new idea. Can I continue to put this on a new T-shirt or a new hat or a new product, even though you may have just took an L, right? I always say to people, and I say this all the time, I always feel that I'm just one person away from wearing my brand to blowing it up to where it be, right? Like, it's just a dedication on it, right? Like, you're supposed to fail. You're supposed to fail. That's what faith is. Faith is the struggle. You gotta struggle in it. Like, since we're talking about faith, right? Like, there is a great part and a great ending to the faith, but you gotta talk about the peace that makes you strong and get there, right? James says, consider your joy when facing trials and tribulation of many kinds, for we know, right? But like, you learn perseverance and how to endure. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Talk about it.
Stick with it, right? They get some results in the end.
Facts.
Don't put a time limit on yourself as well, too. We live in an instant society right now, so it's very hard. Patience is key. Major key.
First off, so for people who are just joining the live, first of all, shout out to my brother. Happy birthday, bro. Love, bro. He's in the building. And if you listen, man, this is what it is. Big Queens. You know what I'm saying? So you got to support the brand from the ground up. Big Queens. That's it. You got to support my man. That's what it is. So let's kind of transition to something because we've actually had conversations, bro. With things surrounding the church. I was raised in it, like you worked in the church and stuff like that with the youth. But I kind of want to just touch on like mental health, right? Like mental health in the church, right? Why do you think there's such a disconnect between people actually talking about or acknowledging that there are mental health issues and mental health problems that actually with your own people who attend the church? Like, why don't you think that there are messages or I would say just avenues to where you can go to the church and talk about like mental health, but they have programs and things like that to help you get set up with mental health therapists and stuff like that?
The disconnect is, I think, and I'm going to be very candid when I say this.
Let's do it.
As Black people, right? There's a stigma that we already have when someone already says that you need therapy, right? Because your natural reaction is to say that I'm not crazy, or I'm right, or what Black folks use as an excuse is that no, you. And that's not necessarily true. That's not true, right? You can pray, but in prayer, right, faith without works is dead, right? That's dead. James. James is my favorite book. But it's you can't say that you want to be better in an area and not seek the help that God can provide for you in the area, right? And say that this is the path and journey I'm taking for myself to get better. I think it's disconnect because it's inherited. I think your parents didn't go through therapy. Like, my mother, she went through some stuff and never saw anybody about it, right? So we follow what we see, right? If my mother didn't go to therapy, I'm gonna say I ain't going to therapy. My mother got through her stuff, but we don't know. We don't know the nights that she probably cried in that bed or and it gets inherited by the church sometimes, right? I think the church is opening up
now, right?
Of it now, right? But I think the old stigma, right, is just pray your way through, or
everything,
and everything, and it's deeper than that. It's deep. A lot of us experience a lot of emotional trauma, and
every day
is the people. Oh man, I'm about to touch some stuff right here. The people that are leading these people are not qualified to talk about these things. Avoid topics that they're not qualified to talk about. Don't bring it. And that's just my opinion on it.
See, I understand that. And if you're not qualified to talk about something, I don't think you should. But if you're in the community and you're in a position of leadership, then what can you do? Then you could actually start to have programs to where you bring in people.
Absolutely.
Who you're building. Right. To talk about it.
I just want to be clear. There are churches that do that.
Yeah.
There are churches that, but I'm talking about in like this, and that's based on what we saw and what we were accustomed to as we were growing up.
And that's true. Because you just touched on it. But now let's take it to a different level. The disconnect between the church of old and the new church. Right? I feel like there's a huge
when I ask that question, right? I want to know what you mean by the church of old and the new. What I mean
by that is I find that there are churches who are, I would say, maybe a little old school, right? How you just touched on just kind of how they're taught, right?
Meaning more traditional.
Yeah, kind of more so of the traditional sense. But those of the traditional sense, they're old school, right? You know what I'm saying? Versus some of the churches now that you see, it's much different. They're doing stuff with mental health. They have different programs. And the one thing that I've heard is I heard somebody of a traditional church say, oh, all they're doing in the new churches is motivational speeches, but they're not preaching the word. And then it becomes a lot of this, because then some of the new, like the newer more churches say like, well, that was the old way of doing things, and this is the new way of doing things. And we're not seeing, and they don't seem to be kind of working together to kind of build the kingdom. That's just what I see and what I hear a lot.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it to you like this: there are a lot of TED Talks,
mm-hmm.
right? People are not feeding people properly.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people get captivated by the charisma of the preacher, and not necessarily the message that they are professing. And what is what that creates is a generation of people that don't know what thus says the Lord. So that's going to be an argument. So their argument will always be on what they know in comparison to what they don't know, because they feel that what they don't know is the old school way of doing things, right? These people are not preaching what thus says the Lord. And I don't want to put shame or put
of course
on nobody's name, but
we lost the audio. What happened? Can't hear you. I can't hear you. Nah, lost the audio, bro. You can hear me, right? Can't hear you. You can't hear me either? Nothing changed on my end. No? All right. Yeah.
All right. Let's try this again. All right, let's try this again. Guess we were having some audio technical difficulties. Let's see what we could do. More beats. What up? Rev Trev, what up?
Rockstar. Always a rock star. Yo.
I think you on the wrong page. I think you went through my business page.
That's what just now. That's what added me.
I didn't add. Oh, okay. So I need my page, bro.
Huh? I think go to your page.
Yeah, I think I should go to my page.
All right. So click off and then come back.
All right.
All right. Rap Trev, what up? Arnon, what up? What up, boy? All right, so we just gonna wait for him to tap back in right quick. Oh man, never a dull moment with the internet. Dope conversations, though. I tell you that. There it is. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we back.
Yeah, we back, bro.
All right. I don't know what happened.
It's the internet. What know what I mean? Yes, sir. So I think so. Where we left off was just talking about, the church of the more traditional church and the church of old versus for people who just catching up.
I get my thoughts together. I think the problem is that we're not using each other, right? You need tradition. You need tradition to build off of, right? What I used to try to do is have the young people work with the old people, right? Because we can't forget the sacrifice that older people have made, right, for us to be here. And that's the same thing with with churches as well. You have to be able to create the connection for the old and the younger generation to come, so the church could be able to grow in years to come. And that's going to be my politically correct answer on that. I don't
politically correct. Come on, man.
You know, and we have to be very mindful. And I'm saying this, we got to be very mindful of what we're feeding our spirit and who we are allowing to feed our spirit, right? So if an older person is saying, they're not preaching what thus says the Lord, I'm going to rock with the old person, right? Because I'm watching what's going on, and it's not preaching, it's not hermeneutics, it's TED Talks, it's stuff to make you feel good, right? I think a lot of and this is my inductive reasoning and statement, I think a lot of people have gotten caught up so much with staying relevant that they've forgotten the essence of what got them to the dance in the first place, right? You cannot sit up here and try to always have the 5 to 10 minute snippet that's going to be played on Instagram, right? It's not capturing the story. And if you're not telling God's word in its full content and context, you're not saying nothing, right? And it's not preaching unless it leads you back to the gospel anyway. It does a lot of TED Talks.
And that's and I can see where you know, I guess the older generation feels that way. But on the flip side of that too, a lot of times you can't reach young people the old ways either. Like, you have to be able to kind of evolve in a sense.
And that's
where
that's
we got to do this.
And right, you gotta work together. Right? You gotta work together. You know, in Europe now, they don't even go to church. So, you know, in Europe, there's like 1% of people that all those Catholic churches in Europe have turned into museums that people go visit when you go to Italy and Spain and all of those things. So, we got to work together, and I think that's my best answer for the question that you was given. What church you in, you have to be able to pull from the tradition and to make it new for this generation, because you're a generation that's never even seen a church or know God or whatever that's supposed to look like, right? I know for myself, I saw people get shot before I even knew how to pray.
Talk about it. Wow.
Generation, but that's like that. So you know you're not going to reach them with the old hymns and all of the and things like that, but you have to find a way to reach them, right? The difference between stepping aside and doing mentorship, right? I think older people in the church, and I can speak from experience, they scared to lose their place. Right? But I look at it as, if you got a person that's there that's wanting to learn, you take them. And then the young person is to take what they learn, put the spin on it. There's no difference than what's going on now in schools. I don't know what a new math is. Learn math like that. You get what I'm saying? But we get the same answer and the same results in the end. They took a nuance of math, but you still get the same answer. You know,
that's a fact.
8 divided by 2 is still going to be 4. Like, they just found different ways to teach it, and that's what we got. You know. So I don't want to go on no rants and stuff about people and, you know, Jesus like that. I'm in here, so, you know. So I wanted to, you know, make sure I gave a very politically correct answer, because we've had a lot of conversations about the new and the old, and I have a place for both, man. You have a place for both, man. And you know, I think, and it goes back to what the premise was when we were speaking about mental health and mental awareness. And I think that get the newer generation involved, they're allowed to bridge that gap into these nuances where the church probably haven't stepped foot into before. like mental
Mm-hmm.
health, all of these things, right? It's like they could recognize that, oh, it's mental health day at church. No, it's need to be mental health year at church because we're
Right.
lacking some things,
Mm.
you know.
Speaking of that, we're gonna get into that. But there's a question. I think Coach P. Cole says, "Where is the place for the older saints in the new church?"
Right. No, he was agreeing. He's saying that's true.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Right. Because if
Yeah.
you push them to the side, where they gonna go? Like, no, it's not to be pushed
Mm-hmm.
aside. It's to be carried along in the journey.
That's a fact.
Right?
That's a fact.
That's
Yeah.
why what I'm saying is that, you know, the older deacons and the older ministers, they gotta help nurse and curate what's going on with the young generation. Right? The
That's
church
a
is
fact.
not supposed to be divided by age, right?
Nope.
The church is not supposed to be divided by age. It's supposed to come to
Mm-hmm.
the purpose of bringing souls to Christ for them to be saved.
Mm.
That's where the ego and things, and you know, it gets involved, and it's hard
Mm-hmm.
to do that.
Yep.
You know, I was blessed to have a pastor that just let me go into the corner and play with the blocks by myself. He just left me alone when I was able to out. Now, did he pull my collar when things got a little crazy? Of course. But he allowed me to express, you know, this nuance of how to save young people.
Mm. So, transitioning, because we mentioned mental health a lot.
What's up?
So, Ab, what up? So, I want to read you something from the World Health Organization on mental health. And this is what their definition of it is. It says mental health defined by the World Health Organization is the state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. So when I heard that, already I said to myself, that doesn't apply to Black folk.
It don't.
I said because we already were born, a lot of us are born in the red when it comes to mental health.
Man,
our parents, we were born into that.
102 years, Black people have been stressed.
Yeah. And that's the wildest thing. You know, so how important is it for us to really start unpacking these traumas at an early age?
If I was able to unpack the trauma that I experienced at a young age, I'd probably be, I don't know where I'll be, right? I finally seek the therapist like last year. Went and I continue to go. You know, but it is very important, right? These kids are seeing things and are exposed to things so fast. You know, I was working in a school, I'll leave it nameless, and the principal was just telling me what this young boy who took, like, I became very fond of what he was going through. You know, he's in 6th grade. He has to get his little sister and his little brother up in the morning. Like, he has to take care of them. You know, the mother can't, like, you know, the dad is not in the picture. There's a separation between for the father, you know, and in the young man's life, and a lot of young men's lives, and when it comes down to Black families. I can't imagine, like, he doesn't get to enjoy being a kid all the time. That's a trauma. Right? And couple with the fact that they're not in the best living situation. You know, he's not going to get to unpack that. Who knows, ever.
And it's crazy, man. When I was working in the nonprofit sector, man, it was sad because it was very eye-opening, man, to see kids at the age of 16 have 10 years already worth of built-up trauma. And they're only 16, and they already got 10 years worth of baggage and trauma, man. So that's why I always say, like, it's very important, the work that you're doing, some of the things that I've been involved in to really kind of get to the youth way before, you know what I'm saying, we were even introduced to therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got a therapist last year, and stuff like that. We all got introduced to this mental health thing, I think, late, right? So it's super.
You know, I'm not going to even try to be funny. It started to become a trend, right? And it was like, no, I need to go see a therapist. But it took a lot for me to even get to that point to be like, no, I need some help. Like, you can. and I don't want to switch topics. Like, I'm sorry to go
Go ahead.
on this tangent like that, but that's why a lot of us are not in healthy relationships,
Mm-hmm.
right? The biggest misconception is that when you get into a relationship with anybody that you're with, and this is even your friends or a significant other, is that you can do something to make somebody happy.
Right.
You can't. A person has to be happy themselves, and then you guys experience happy moments together.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, and I think when you really trying to really want to be involved with somebody else, you really need to get involved with yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just going to bring this baggage and unpack it onto somebody else, and then this person feels, compelled and complex to not want to leave, because you get this notion of, what are they going to do? What are they going to do without me?
Mm-hmm.
Unloaded all this stuff on them, and now they saying that, "Dag, you're not even in a relationship. You're just somebody's burden bearer."
Mm-hmm.
And now that person is just trying to feed off of the stuff. They're trying to feed the things that have done so much damage in your life, and they're making excuses of it. He didn't have his mother growing up, or his dad growing up, or he grew up without a father figure. So nah, man, we need help.
Mm-hmm.
Help at a young age, especially if you're growing up in an environment that is that's not conducive to a child. Because white kids don't, but they got their own stuff. I ain't gonna, sides to the coin, but for black people, the treatment is not there, and that's the sad part all the time.
Man, and that's kind of segue into like men. You know what I'm saying? I think
I
God
just
bless the women.
by the way, so I'm not going.
Yeah, nah, man. You know what I mean? I think women have been amazing. To be on the front lines, to have been going to get self-help, have been going to get therapists and things like that, therapy. They were kind of ahead of us in that way. I think, of course, it's by the way that we're raised. Men,
Right.
we can't express right what we feel. We don't have a safe space, because as soon as we do, we're emasculated, or what I'm saying, it's just like, man up, don't even talk, don't cry, this and that. As women were very just hey, express. They're taught to express themselves and talk it out and cry it out, and it's okay, which is absolutely the way that it should be. But for men, by the time they become adults, like, you wonder why. You say men don't know how to talk, men don't know how to express themselves, men don't know how to communicate. Well, when do we ever get the permission to?
You know where I got the permission to? I got the permission to cry freely at church.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In the youth group I was in, we were all experiencing our own stuff, and it gave me permission to really let out a lot of my feelings. I didn't. And my parents right next to me. We all the thing is, when you're a teenager, you think is your fault. This is why the church, to me, is necessary, right? Because it bridges the gap for a young person to feel comfortable to be who they are, right? And to learn who God has created you to be, right? And you're absolutely right, Asia. Everybody doesn't have that opportunity. And this is why a lot of people know how to cry right now. But I'm okay with crying. There's times that I've cried in my bed because I want more for myself. When you want more for yourself, sometimes I thank God it doesn't lead me for rage. It leads me to lean on God and be like, yo, God, and then I'm pouring out through these tears. I'm letting you know this is some real stuff. Shoot, Jesus cried, so it's and that's real. Like, I think, as men, we have to get out of that space that it's not okay to cry. The deepest thing that someone's just said to me, a person that I work with, he says, for some people, redemption doesn't start until the handcuffs go on.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of would just
Oh, I don't know what happened.
Oh no, we just couldn't hear you.
No, I couldn't hear you.
Oh no, here we go again.
No,
can you hear me now? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I can
All
hear
right. All right, cool. So Ab says, so what happens when you aren't introduced to God?
Right. What happens? Right? That's a thought-provoking question. That's a conundrum. Like it does.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move away from the God facet for a second. What happens when we don't have the resources in the community to even experience to talk about these traumas and these pains? Right? It's a deep underlining root question, right? The God instance is one sense, but what about the resources in the community in general? Right? How can we have neighborhood clinicians that everybody feels comfortable to go to in the black community? Right? We have a liquor store. We have I don't know why, Asia. You can hear me clear, T?
I can hear you now, but you were buffering. That's what I was trying to tell you. Yeah.
Saying if you didn't hear me, right? I said you're absolutely right. What does happen, right? And I said forget the God piece for a second. What I'm saying is it has to do with the resources as well. Why don't we have neighborhood clinicians that can be able and that are qualified to talk to these young people as well, and the older people in the neighborhood, right? We have everything in our neighborhood except for licensed clinicians that you can get access to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's a deep question that I don't have the answer for.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody has the answer to.
No, but I do think though it starts with conversations like this. I think it starts with when a young person can come on, because everything is online, Instagram or whatever the case is, and YouTube and Facebook. It's like when they can come online and see somebody like you talking about mental health. You know what I'm saying? It starts when you just said, hey, yo, sometimes I lay in my bed and cry. Somebody might say, yo, damn, man, like that's me. You know what I'm saying? Like having these open dialogues where you have somebody who's not, your parents' age, but somebody who's like, could be like your older brother that can sit there and say, yo, you know what? Damn, man, like he's not like old, but like he could be my older brother. And he told me that there were times in his life where he cries.
Right.
But not everybody's willing to share that information. Not everybody's willing to say that. Not everybody's willing to come online and say, yo, as a man, I cry. Right. And I feel things. You know what I'm saying? I actually feel it. I'm hurt. And I can communicate that with you and say that it's okay as a young man to cry. And I think that I don't have the answers. You don't have the answers. But I think it does start, and it has to start with a lot of these types of conversations that could happen in the church, that could happen somewhere else, that we should be able to have these open forms of conversation with men to say, yo, it's okay. And that's how we need to get to our young men, is to have these type of dialogues that we're having right now.
Right. Right.
Because I think that the problem is men don't really have safe spaces. Like we don't feel safe enough. You know what I'm saying? Men don't really feel safe enough to have these open dialogues. So what happens is each generation, it gets passed down, it gets passed down, it gets passed down. Be quiet. Right. You know what I'm saying?
My man Charles said it's a cycle of brokenness, right? Like you inherit brokenness.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. See, my homegirl said there needs to be what she said. There needs to be more education about mental health to create safe spaces, and that's really true.
Man, if barbers were therapists, black men would be better.
That's that's a fact. Because the stuff that goes on about
everything.
Yeah. The conversations that go on in the barbershop, Jesus Christ.
Right.
I ain't snitching. But yeah, so but I really do feel like there does need to be more conversations like this. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy Joel. Like whenever we get on here, he started his whole podcast and his whole show about financial literacy. You know what I mean? That needs to be a conversation in the community too. You know what I'm saying? Because he identifies a lot of our mental health problems with our finances too. And that's dope. And we need to start having more of those conversations as well, right? So I think it starts with conversation and then we can move to some actions, right? Because not everybody's going to have access to a church, right? Or know about the church or even want to hear from God, right? You know what I'm saying? Because there are periods in our lives where we don't want to hear from God. Why? Because we're so down and out in our own thinking and our own misery and our own traumas that we don't even think God is hearing us. We don't think that we have a direct line. You know what I'm saying? And you can't even drag somebody to the church. You can be like, no, I don't want it. But if they see somebody like you know what I'm saying, not always in a suit, you know what I'm saying, but that has the hat on, the whole joint says, yo, I cry. Somebody that looks like just like me says, yo, I cry. That's the conversation.
That is a conversation. To answer Crystal's question, so how do we break the cycle? We break the cycle by when you know we start our black families, right? We break the generational curses that's already been laid upon us, right? Like if you're in when you're creating your new family, right? Have a new outlook. Have a safe space for that child to be able to tell you everything as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I think
how break the cycle, right? It starts one family at a time, and then because the black family is broken, right? So we need strong black families with some strong black fathers, like your father, God rest his soul. You know what I'm saying? That's going to stay there. And my man Charles, that's saying any other black fathers that are here, right? You're able to break that. You're able to break that cycle by fatherhood as well. Like, you know,
it's very true. And also mentorship, you know, yeah, you know, even if you don't have kids, I think that you can still be a mentor. You don't have kids, I don't have kids, but we've still poured into the youth, right? And it's just like you said about fathers. Even if you're a father, you can still take other people's kids up under your wing. And that's something that I learned from my father. Like, man, you know what I mean? Like when I was younger, like he took care of me, but then he also made sure the neighborhood kids was good. Right. And, you know, who didn't have the father that, you know, as the father that was in their lives and things like that. He took care of them too and said, yo, I got you. You come with me. You're not going to be in the streets. I'm going to come take you to practice and I'm going to come feed you. So like he did, you know, set that example too, not just for me, but for the community too. You know what I'm saying? So there has to be a level of neighborhood leadership, group leadership, stuff like that. And young people like you and me, you know what I mean? Well, we kind of still young. You know, to go out there and who's not afraid to go out there and talk to the kids. Right. And actually wants to take the time out on a Friday night or Saturday night or Sunday morning or whatever the case is and actually pour it into the kids. And I think that's how we start to break the cycles too.
We have to be comfortable enough to have uncomfortable conversation.
Exactly.
I think that's the first. We have to be comfortable enough to start having some uncomfortable conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to make you move in your seat and make you like, you know, and when it's uncomfortable, it's a good feeling because it's stretching you to be you. Mm-hmm. And that's how you know you're being impactful or about making impact.
Mm-hmm. And this is not about me, but that's why I started this, because I wanted to have those types of conversations. I wanted to have conversations like what we're having right now. And when I do the money management series with my boy Joel, like it's uncomfortable. Like, and he talks about it. Talking about people's finances is uncomfortable.
That's uncomfortable.
And he's like, but it's necessary because he said he wants to rebuild the communities. He wants to make the communities debt free. So now he's starting from the ground up and he's blessing a lot of people. But it's those uncomfortable conversations that really help us, you know what I'm saying, transition into breaking those cycles, you know? So I feel like, you know, I don't know, you know, we could talk about it offline, maybe some that we could do, you know what I mean? Few of us can get together, maybe start having something maybe once COVID is done, you know what I'm saying? And maybe doing something on a bigger scale and inviting some young people down, hell, inviting some older folks down too, you know what I'm saying? So we can start really truly breaking these cycles. I don't know. That's just an idea. You know what I'm saying?
Not an idea. It's gonna happen. We speak on it. We manifest it. You know, and then it gets.
I'm ready to do it.
You know, I mean, you know, the slogan of Kingdom Born. Thank you, sir, for putting in my plug. Is pray, build, and believe. So you pray on it, you build on it, and you believe about it, so.
Shout out to Queens. Yeah.
Queens.
Always. Yes, sir. Oh man. Listen, for the people who have joined in and didn't get to know where they can go get the Kingdom Born, I just want to take time out to salute this king right here. And y'all can go out there and support his movement. His apparel is dope. Tell them where you can get it, bro.
All right, man. We are on Instagram is kingdomborn_. You can follow us. The spring line, we had a pop-up this past Wednesday. The merch is gonna go live this weekend, this Saturday. It will be live. And you can purchase your items on wearekingdomborn.com. I got a lot of spring flavors. There's some stuff. My tech suits were made today, so sorry for the delay for those that were expecting it to be ready by Wednesday. For the site and stuff. But again, like I tell people, it is me by myself. I do get some backline help at time to times, but and I also maintain a career as well. So, but this weekend, most definitely, we're gonna be out here and just look for some big things to come up. Shout out to 6. We got some pop-up things coming up as well. So we working out here, man. We working.
You always working, man. Listen, man, I salute you always, man. You're doing incredible work for the kingdom. You're doing incredible work for the youth, man. I salute you always, brother. Yeah, man, I salute you, bro. Please go support this brother, man.
All right, thank you, man. I salute you too, man. Thank you. I am humble for this chance and this opportunity to even be on your show, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Listen, we're going to do it again. Like we said, we're going to talk, man, because we got to start trying to help break these cycles, brother. So we're going to talk offline, man, and we're going to get it going, man. Hopefully we can come right back here and have another conversation, man, because I enjoyed it, brother. Appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate you. Peace.
All right, bro. Peace. And that's a wrap. Listen, I appreciate y'all. Conversation of the heart. If you want to hear this again, it's going to be on Spotify, iHeartMedia, iHeartRadio, excuse me, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever you got a podcast, it's going to be on. It's going to be up there. I appreciate y'all. Tune in again. We're going to be right back here next week. Yeah, man, listen, I love y'all. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. Unpack that trauma. Yo, we are here. Salute the Kingdom Born. All right, y'all. Peace.